I just found out that Donald Trump is going to be changing how he does his news. He's actually going to be opening up to social media people. Can you imagine? Imagine that, your favorite social media people, because he wants to call upon people that actually have an audience, and he thinks the left doesn't have it, and they're just annoying him. So he's changing everything. This is a guy that just renames bodies of water and acquires, countries while he's sitting there at night tweeting or Xing or whatever. No, he's truth socialing. But what's happening right now in America is unprecedented. Even the way that this is, you're going to see the way they handle the press is totally different than it ever was. There's a new sheriff in town, and you're in the middle of this new great awakening. There's a DNA change that's happening in America, which reminds me, something I haven't talked about lately, but I've got reports of phenomenal physical changes happening, especially for my older demographic out there. I want you to listen to this. This guy, Jake, had his talk about how cells can be restructured and how there's like, I would say almost like breakthrough technology in terms of like this level 10 matrix, the reports we're getting on what's happening with people. His protein numbers, Jake's, have decreased in his kidneys. Original numbers were in the 1600s. Now they're down to the 400s. The ideal is 0. We have lab work this month to see. I've also lost 25 pounds since the therapy I took at the conference we did.
Wow.
Marilyn says the skin's improving, no cuts or scratches. Veins are fading, and loose teeth are actually getting stronger. That's something new. Another person here says neck pain better, long COVID symptoms so much better, internally feeling better. And what I'm talking about is the power of this STEM technology. I want you to go to level10matrix.com if you haven't heard about it. If you or a loved one is praying about and looking for something that will resolve an issue, it's amazing how the power that created you is the power that can transform you. And it's all in the cells. It's all in the DNA. Call 1-800-361-2270 or level10matrix.com or put matrix in the chat thread. And we'll get this information to you right away because these testimonies are powerful. I think we need to bring Shirley back in again. I love it. Every week there's another healing that is worth talking about.
Definitely. We try to bring Shirley in twice a month because we just keep getting testimonies like that from you guys at home. These are people just like you sitting at home, listening to the podcast, and they're saying, I have a missing piece. I need this type of a healing. I need this type of a deliverance. And our whole prayer, especially when we did that conference, was, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So you may need the knowledge. Go to level10matrix.com. There's a great booklet there you can download for free. It tells you all about Level 10 Matrix and the technology behind it.
Amen. And pray for Robert Kennedy that he gets confirmed because God's doing something to make America healthy again. Let's get into today's show. Well, we have a wild show today, and it's got so much information on it. I don't want to miss any of it, but I guess I should start off by saying, I don't know how many of you have noticed we've had some rotating on the staff, on the team, because people are so busy doing things. But Mercedes, welcome back to the show over here to my side.
Thanks, Lance. I'm happy to be here with everyone, and you, and Chelsea.
And Chelsea, yes. And, of course, producer Chelsea's right over here, ready, with her headset on, doing air traffic control. So
ready to go.
Ready to go. Now, all right. Now, listen, the boss is back. What a wild week it's been already. Trump is changing the entire dynamic of everything the left deals with and what was their stronghold before, which is media, where they would pepper him and bully him and harass him, and then the Department of Justice would be going after him, trying to cripple him, bankrupt him, lock him up. He's got all the cards now, and boy, does this guy love to play them. Let's go to the new White House press secretary, listening to the critiques. And I want you to, by the way, if you're on X account, this is my lead story on X. You can go to Lance Wallnau on X and catch this stuff if you want to follow the flow of the show. Let's start with the White House press secretary, and she's wearing her conspicuous cross. This is a visual statement that something's changing in the White House. Watch this.
Carolina on immigration. Of the 3,500
arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You made a point of the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing. If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are a criminal.
If they broke our nation's laws, yeah, they're a criminal. How many of the arrests are criminals versus others? All of them. I know there's a huge culture shift going on in America right now, but guess what? It's a new culture. Oh, my gosh. I love it. I mean, 4 years of this, but we're not done yet. Check out Donald Trump, the only president, and it's, you can't see George Bush doing this. You couldn't see even Obama and Clinton would never go where Trump goes. Trump is a media machine. Don't forget, he was like the king of the media mountain when he had his own little apprentice show going on there. So look at the Trump tweet on Jim Acosta. For those of you that are listening, we'll read it to you. Do you guys have it? Bring it up. He says this. Now, when does a president comment on news like this? Wow, really good news. Jim Acosta, one of the worst and most dishonest reporters in journalistic history, a major sleazebag, has been relegated by CNN fake news to the midnight hour. It's Death Valley, people. Because of his extraordinarily bad ratings and no talent, word is that he wants to quit. And that would be even better. Jim is a major loser who will fail. Can you imagine this guy's a prophet? This is a major loser who will fail no matter what he ends up doing. Good luck, Jim. I can't help it. This is going to be a long 4 years for the left-wing media. But then, Trump, there's a great scene in the movie Patton where the Carl Malden, who's playing Bradley, says, give George another headline and he's good for another, 10 miles or 100 miles. This is what Trump reposts. He loves his own press. So check this out. The next post from Trump on Truth Social, bring it up, please, so I can read it on the screen. President Donald Trump has been in office as the 47th president for less than 130 hours. It hasn't even been a whole week, he's reposting. He's already established America as the leader in the world once again. He's freed hostages, brought in billions of dollars in new business investment, had cabinet secretaries confirmed, ended government and military DEI establishment. There are only two genders, he says. He's closed the border, arrested and deported nearly 1,000 criminals, told the oil and gas industry, okay, it's time to drill, baby, drill, signed nearly 200 executive orders, visited North Carolina and California, victims of horrific natural disasters, began the process to take back the Panama Canal, designated international cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, withdrew from the Paris Climate Accords and the World Health Organization, made offers to buy Greenland, renamed the mountain a huge body of water, the American Gulf now, giving people real hope for a brighter future, and it's not even Sunday. People are already talking about changing the 22nd Amendment, and he posted, so he can serve a third term. Their heads are blowing up right now. So he's going to do a third term. If this pace and success keeps up for 4 years, and there's no reason it won't, Americans really want him to leave. Well, there you go, people. That's Trump. And by the way, in addition, since they did this, he has had 8,000 former military employees that were fired because they wouldn't take the jab. He has reinstated them with full back pay. That's President Trump. And you know, what Trump is doing, Mercedes, is, I mean, he doesn't miss a photo op. But what's amazing is you've got your own PR machine as president. It used to be people would have to handle the public relations for the White House.
Yep.
And the president would be handled. He'd show up here, he'd show up there, and then the press would explain what he's doing, and his own people would spin. Trump doesn't need that. He's got the PR machine, and this makes him twice as powerful because he understands communication.
Definitely. And he doesn't stop. That's the other thing. Like, he's up early. I think the other day, he went to North Carolina. He got up, did a press briefing, went to North Carolina, went all the way to California, and then was still going at like 9 o'clock that night. Like, he doesn't sleep. That's one of the secret things about the Trump guys. It's like they maybe sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. He doesn't stop. It's always coming.
You know why? Because he's energized by it. And he actually likes the job. Then you can see him talking. He's laughing, because he feeds off the energy. And so it's a beautiful cycle. But it's not just there. Listen, he also took all of the people that were locked up in jail because of pro-life.
Totally.
And there's one beautiful story here I want to play right now about one of our sisters, a Christian who was standing for life, who was targeted by the left for a 3-year prison sentence. Listen to this story.
Let me put you guys in my shoes for a second. Could you imagine 3 years, right?
Yeah.
You get indicted. So you're thinking, nah, no way. This got to be dismissed. It's not dismissed. You pray. God, this has to be dismissed. This is unjust. It doesn't happen. Then you say, okay, I'll go to trial. But God, I got to be found not guilty. And then it doesn't happen. You're found guilty. And on top of that, I was found guilty alone. I had a co-defendant, but I was found guilty alone. I was singled out. Then on top of that, now I'm like, nah. I mean, the judge got to be lenient something. She got to at least give me probation. No. 3.5 years. Another prayer, unanswered.
Yeah.
Bail appeal, 2 of them. No. Each time. The Supreme Court didn't even bother to read it. It came up. They said no to it. Christmas over. My prayer to go home for Christmas. New Year, Thanksgiving, nothing. I'm getting no after no after no, and I'm still having to be resilient in my faith. And so now as the 20th is coming, I'm getting these whispers in my ear, obviously from the enemy. You're going to get left behind. You're not going to go home. He's not going to pardon you. They're going to forget about you. And I'm hearing this, and it's like, I want to counter it, and I am by my faith, but it's not stopping it from happening. Breaking news, Trump has signed executive orders. 2 go by, and then now he brings this one up, and he says, oh, and this one is for the pro-lifers who were unjustly charged. And as he's saying it, I'm sitting here watching it with my homegirl, and I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna sign it. And like, I didn't even hear him saying it was an honor to sign it and none of that, because I was literally freaking out.
Yeah.
And then all I hear is that pen scribbling. And I'm like screaming, Jesus! Thank you, Jesus! I'm going home! Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm all through the unit screaming and praising God. I call my husband like, babe, come get me now. He just signed it. I'm going home.
She's shouting, Jesus! I love it. There's an awakening, people. There's an awakening happening. And so her nightmare ended because Trump signed that. They're out.
Well, and to think too, like, I didn't even realize that this happened. Like, I'm like, am I totally that uninformed where this lady was incarcerated for praying in front of an abortion clinic? I mean, literally, like a prayer that you or I, a Pentecostal prayer we would pray, put her in jail. She wasn't arrested at the time. She was arrested on federal charges and gets locked up for, I think it was like 41 months. And thank God for President Trump. This type of a story is like what comes out of the UK, where you can't even pray in your head anymore without being locked up. That is terrifying. Doesn't matter if she's a young mom, doesn't matter any of those things. They're going to make an example.
Folks. In Great Britain right now, they have a guy who stood outside, a former vet, a guy who served in the military, prayed outside of a clinic. The police said, what were you praying? And he said, well, I'm a Christian. And boom, the guy's off to jail. Mm-hmm. That's what was coming. That's what was stopped. And it ain't stopped yet, because the ripple effect of what's happening in America is going to touch the entire world. Mm-hmm. It's going around the world. Ben Bergquam is over there on how to make Europe great again. Right now, states are rising up within Europe saying, we want what America has. We want the breakthrough that America has. We want to have that in our own country as well.
I was going to say, too, that targeted attack on prayer just underscores the power of prayer, and even the power of prayer in your own mind. As crazy as that sounds, don't ever let the devil convince you that your prayers don't matter, and what you're praying in your prayer closet, that is, like we see in that movie, the war room.
And honestly, I want all of you to think about this. The January 6th people, the 1,000 plus that were out there Many of them are just like this. They were Christians who were not breaking up stuff, who were not violent, who were walking in. And simply because, like this woman praying, they were put through the process. When we come back, I'm going to talk about Trump's unleashing his war machine on the perversion of justice and what happened to him. He's going to reset the clock. We'll be right back. I have something special for you today, my friends. It's a word for what is happening right now because you're entering into a Trump era, an era that you fought for and that you prayed into. I had 2 or 3 specific words God gave me about what's happening with Trump, and it's not like I haven't been there from the beginning. This is my original book where I predicted the term Trump derangement and Trump derangement syndrome, where I said Trump would be called Cyrus in the Middle East. He would be considered another Cyrus. Then around 2020, I wrote, here's the next 10 years. I had no idea if Trump would get elected or not, but I saw a decade that was going to be impacted by Trump. You've got the story of exactly where the sequence is with the chaos. I even give a code for what the nations are going to be doing during this period of Trump. And it's happening exactly as I said. I want to make sure that you get this book. Actually, I want to make sure you get both of them and the message that I have, which is on where we're at and how we go through the window. And what are the areas of 3 or 4 places of reformation that the church is being invited to step into and can miss the window if we don't go through with vigorous intentionality. And then I've got my really cool MAGA hats. I want to make sure you can get a hat. I've got a black hat, like my Elon Musk cool black and white MAGA hat. Got the original red and white, and then we have a white and gold. And all of this, it's the America's Comeback Bundle. You can get it at lancewallnau.com/America. I want you to get the hats, the books, the prophetic words, the teaching, bam, at lancewallnau.com/America. And let's move forward together. Turn the moment into a movement. God bless you. Well, the Trump train has now arrived in Washington, and the whole globe is going through a massive reset. Prayer, evidently, is more serious than we thought, Mercedes. Mm-hmm. You were saying.
Well, I was just saying at the end of the segment, you just think about it, that how powerful prayer must really be at shaping culture and transforming nations if the law is being weaponized against people praying outside of abortion clinics. Publicly, vocally, like we just saw in that last segment, and then also in the UK, just in your mind. The story I heard that we both heard together, the guy was facing a completely opposite direction, way outside of like a safe zone, like behind a tree, and the law enforcement officer came up and said, "What are you doing?" Because he's a Christian. He said, "Well, I'm praying." You know, well, you're going to be charged.
Well, and this is crazy. This is spiritual warfare. So there's an article that just came out in the Wall Street Journal. I got called by the Wall Street Journal about Trump's immigration policies and stuff. And what does the church feel about Trump going into churches? And my comment was, well, you know, you're going to find by and large that churches that are harboring illegals, that are criminals, are actually working for the left. Understand, a large part of the Catholic Church and charities, a lot of the woke Marxists, remember the Pope is Marxist. So a lot of the church is actually, in the Catholic Church, is actually half of it's politically on the left. I mean, co-opted and taken over, working with bringing illegals in. So I said, hey, I think we're going to expose this. The wrecking ball is coming to the church, and a reformation's happening in the church. And I think it's a lot of the stuff that's shaking up in the church is, bam, God's coming in to reorder what the church is. But I want to get into this whole thing about the lawfare, because it's all tied together. The Department of Justice just fired officials who played a significant role in prosecuting President Trump. Well, no kidding. Pam Bondi is going to be taking over that area. I don't know if she's been officially confirmed yet.
Not yet.
But she looks like she's in. The American people have witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents, weaponizing legal force of numerous federal law enforcement agencies. And so what you're going to see now is Trump doesn't have to, he can't, and he won't go to the Department of Justice and say, go after them. But they understand that they've got to go rectify what's happened. And even on Truth Social, Trump retweeted, or whatever they call it, retruthed, a Federalist article on the argument for restoring justice in America by going after Letitia James and the New York prosecutors that gamed the system with New York judges and Democrat donor judges in order to be able to take Trump out. And the point is, and Trump is reposting it, you've got to fix this so that there is a disincentive in the future of going after your political opponents and weaponizing the government to go after them. So, along those lines, we have the battle that is ensuing this week. You've got three biggies, and think about this as a spirit battle. Now that we know what deep state is. Oh, by the way, so the Wall Street Journal, I'm saying this. They had an article and they quoted me on it talking about immigration. And wouldn't you know, they put a link. What do you think the link is next to my name?
Which one is it?
Spiritual warfare. I don't know what page it's on. So I'm linked to spiritual warfare in the United States in an article. But so, people tell me all the time about, hey, are you bothered by this? I don't even know what's happening unless someone tells me about it. But the Department of Homeland Security hits the New York streets to get the dirtbags off the streets. So this is going to be Kristi Noem. Understand that everyone in Trump's cabinet now, including Marco Rubio, these are all people with long-term professional interests in running for president and higher office. Once you've been in the cabinet, where do you go from there? Once you've been a governor and you're in a cabinet, well, you start looking. So all of them are actually doing the job that Trump wants them to do, and they all want to do it and make a mark in the American psyche that they're in this Make America Great Again movement. So for her to use words like we're getting the dirtbag off the streets, the first thing you've got to see is that in terms of just now, the enforcement operation in New York City, criminal alien with kidnapping, assault, and burglary charges is in custody. America is no longer a safe haven for violent criminals. 86% of Americans, including Democrats, are being forced to say, well, we're actually for the deporting of violent criminals and offenders. What are they going to say? We're for the keeping up. They vote that way. They vote to protect them. But now that the issue is being brought forth and you prayed and you want to see God put the spotlight on it, what are they going to? It's like turning a light on where all the cockroaches are. They all got to run in the kitchen and go hide. They can't stand behind their own ideology. And so Kristi Noem is going there. So this week we have three biggies that are up. And these are three huge things. First, Pete Hegseth passed after a brutal, hearing. But that was the warfare industrial complex. But Tulsi Gabbard looks like the most vulnerable of all Trump's next candidates. I think RFK, it's going to be hard for them to take him out. It really is, because he's standing for health. And there's so many moms, as you know, that are actually on his side saying they want their children not to be taking the poison. Nobody trusts Big Pharma after the COVID situation, and now the CIA. Oh, new revelation. They actually believe that the origin of COVID was a lab leak in Wuhan, China. They knew it all along, but they were covering it because Fauci was involved with it, and he's part of the inside operation of Washington. Now the CIA is coming clean. Well, because Trump's got a new spotlight on. He's got leadership there that's going to say, hey, truth is coming out. Truth is coming out. So Kennedy, I think, is going to have a real interesting hearing because it's going to expose the big pharma money that's in Washington to try to block him. But I think the American people are getting educated. Pete Hegseth exposed the big military money that was trying to stop him from reforming the military. But Tulsi has gone on record as saying that she's for suspending more military investment in Ukraine. So this is where Lindsey Graham and others, keep an eye on them. You've got three Republicans on the Senate that are the torpedo votes, exposing that they're not really Republicans. McConnell is one of them. You got Maine and Alaska. And so these senators are the ones that are going to be oppositional.
The ones for RFK, though, that we have to put pressure on, and please call these senators' offices, but is Lankford, Cassidy, Collins, Curtis, and is it Hoeven? 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 Yeah. So those are the guys you got to reach out to. So please call them. Let them know. Please confirm. RFK. Now.
Yep, and maybe we'll put a number up there or something. Lisa Murkowski, totally unreliable, Alaska. Susan Collins of Maine, Mitch McConnell, Kentucky, and so there's your three seats. But Tulsi's got to have like a full confirmation, a full approval. I'm just telling you right now, she's going to have a battle. Now, who's the third that's up? Oh, is Kash up yet? Kash Patel?
I don't know if he's
that will
this
be
week.
exciting. Yeah, I think. He'll be coming up, and that's going to be an interesting one because he wrote his government gangsters book, exposing a lot of. Anyway, what I want you to catch is the nature of the battle that is going to be coming out. With Kash Patel, articles are coming out, of course, leaking whistleblowers that he played a role in a hostage rescue that almost went bad. In his, all of his years of high performance, they strain at a gnat and swallow a camel, is what Jesus said. They're going to find something he did that wasn't elegantly and properly done, like getting ahead of information and revealing something he shouldn't have revealed. But you're going to see his effort to reform the FBI is going to be, you're going to see who's going to come out to stop the reformation of the FBI. But I want you prepared for these things. I want you prepared for the way in which the media is going to respond because they're predictable. They're going to try to come up with stories of injustice about the plight of immigrants, they're going to say, that are in the United States seeking asylum and fleeing persecution, etc. Meanwhile, the 10 million or 15 million that were coming through were not coming because they were being persecuted by jihadists in South America. That's not what's going on there. So you're going to see the typical arguments like school lunches are on the menu. Like I'm looking at this one article here I want to show you where Trump is now going after, we got 90 every 90 days we have $1 trillion of debt. Trump has got to eliminate that. How's he going to do it? Well, he's going to have to cut something, and it's not going to be easy for him to do. So the left is right away going after his immigration policies, and the reason he's going to win this year on the immigration battle with the deportations is because he is going after the first phase is the insane asylums and the criminals and the people that have come in here that are actually dangerous. And he's going to have media support behind him. So this year, you're going to see a lot of those stories coming out, and the left is going to try to say, oh, but he's being abusive and cruel and unreasonable. And I don't think it's going to work. I think the American public now realizes that the media's manipulation of information is going to be a widespread tactic of creating confusion and fragmentation in something which actually 86% of Americans are behind. So you're going to see, I just want to say, the school meals of low-income students. Trump's going to be doing budget cuts, and they're going to start talking about wildfire preparation and nutrition programs for single mothers and mining inspections and homeless veterans. They're going to, the Office of Budget is now freezing all money, get this, going to left-wing slush funds that are on the government payroll, and it's being frozen now for one purpose, in order to examine each of them to see if they aren't, in fact, nothing more than a slush fund that the government used, largely set up with during the Obama days, to fund left-wing nonprofits that make a fortune off of working with the government for things that Trump is now going to say, this is not making America great. Well, I cannot believe I didn't even get to the Mexican cartels shooting at our border agents or the Supreme Court case that's coming up. You have to catch tomorrow, because we talked with some attorneys that are right now at the heart of one of the biggest religious liberty battles in America, which is, can Christians have access to the tax-paying money that they're putting into education, and can they have a charter school that can tap into those vast federal funds that they've already paid into? Or will the Supreme Court shoot down the ability of, let's say, Catholic charter schools to exist that are going to be teaching a biblical worldview? Are they in danger of being shut out because they have a religious worldview? Or is this going to be a battle that will backfire on the left so that it's revealed that an ideology is an ideology and that people have a right to promote their worldview if they are Christians in a charter school? It's going to be a big battle. We're going to cover that tomorrow. But right now, I'm going to have to sign off. Time flies when you're having fun. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Just like all of you, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. I'd flip-flop all night, use my arm for support, and fall asleep, or I'd wake up with a sore neck or maybe a headache. Well, quality sleep comes from keeping your neck straight at night. You have to fill in that space between your head and your bed. That's why I invented My Pillow. My Pillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it doesn't matter if you sleep on your back, stomach, side, or any combination of all three.
When I got My Pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night, and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get Classic King My Pillows for only $19.98. Queen size just $18.98. Standard Classic My Pillows only $14.98. That's right, only $14.98. Plus all orders $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code Lance to save big on all of Mike's best products. That's promo code Lance. Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.